Shelby and Lauren, thanks for coming today. Welcome to Launchpad, Isaiah. And really appreciate you guys taking time out of your day. I know working life is fun and busy, but to do this, I'm sure you had to kind of say, can I take an early lunch? So just thank you guys for doing that. It means a lot.
Our pleasure. Yeah.
Come on back. So, okay, so I looked at both your LinkedIn profiles, and I've known you both through the years, and whether it's Pie-ologist or wine intern or grill worker or swim club office manager, you've both landed at the same accounting firm here in Santa Barbara. So thinking back, could your Pie-ologist self or your wine intern self have ever imagined that someday you'd land a job at DeMitt's, one of the top accounting firms in town?
Yeah, I knew even when I was a wine intern that I wanted to do something with accounting. That was just one of the stepping stones to get me there. But yeah, I mean, all experiences kind of led me to here, where I'm at now, and school and all my jobs, and at least pointed me in the right direction. So it took some detours, but then ultimately came back to
Tell me about the detours and what you learned in that process. What stood out and what was helpful in terms of yeah or nah?
Well, my wine marketing internship was all marketing based, and I realized it's not really where my strengths lie, and it was very interesting, and I enjoyed my time there, but it made me kind of do a little turn to get back on the accounting path.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Great. Lauren, how about you? What was your sort of pathway to what you got, and how did that work? Could you have imagined yourself doing this based on? And you were the Pie-ologist, right?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Who doesn't
Biology
like pizza?
woo, yeah.
Who doesn't like pizza?
Yeah. That was a good job. I did it when I was a junior in college, so it was kind of not really, your typical internship during the time, but it was a nice summer job.
Sure.
And it actually taught me a lot about customer service and what I expect from management and just the basic business side of it, which was really interesting and very helpful.
Well, speaking of that experience of learning more about that, what about your jobs and internships made you kind of look back and go, hey, those things kind of help shape who I am today? And you talked a little bit about it earlier, but just kind of flesh that out a bit more.
Well, I think all experiences you can learn from, and if it was a bad experience, you can learn maybe what you don't want. If it's a good experience, maybe that's something that you do want. So just upon reflection, I think my office manager position really kind of made me realize I'm really interested in business and that I want to pursue business. And then my wine internship made me realize maybe marketing is not quite my specific field of interest. And I did get to work a little bit in the accounting side when I was there, and that was always really, really fascinating to me. So I think all experiences you can learn from, whether it's good, bad, in between.
Sure.
Yeah. I think mine just really narrowed that I wanted something maybe not minimum wage, maybe something where my experience and my talents could be utilized better. I mean, I did find out Pie-ology and as a grill worker, but it's kind of I wanted something where I was maybe respected a little more, and I had a little more money to work with, and I could just really do my job the best of my ability with all of my talents and skills.
Well, like you said, that Pie-ology job gave you a perspective of customer service, which as you're interacting with peers in the company, certainly clients, that's an awesome skill set. Even, again, I was going to say even though, but it's not, there's no such thing as even though. That gave you a framework to go, oh, I see, this is how you interact with.
Yeah.
So it's a great framework.
So going back to high school, what was it that tipped the scales on coming to Westmont?
Well, my dad went to Westmont, so yeah, legacy here. Actually, at first I didn't want to. I didn't have anything against it, so no, I'll try something different. And then I came and visited, and I honestly felt like God called me to come here. And I visited, I had a great time, and I thought, okay, this is it. I'm very happy to come here, and the decision was made right then and there, and it was very easy.
So when the decision was made, when you were here, and you went, oh.
Yeah. When I was here, I stayed with a friend who was a student, a freshman here, and I got to stay a couple nights with her, and she took me to some events, and I thought, yeah, I could definitely see myself here and having a good time. yeah, that was it.
Great, easy.
Easy.
And what about you?
My experience was not as smooth sailing as Shelby. I wanted to go to Pepperdine really bad, and so that was my number one top choice, and Westmont was more of my backup plan. And then I got waitlisted, so I had to say yes to somewhere, and so we decided, oh, let's say yes to Westmont. I didn't visit it at all. So yeah, so that was interesting. And then never got off the wait list, so I was like, guess I'm going to Westmont. So that summer before I started, I came and visited and just like, okay, I'm in this. So kind of just took off from there.
So how did your expectations in high school match up with the experience of
Oh, wow. I try to come in having little to no expectations because I really didn't know what to expect. Granted, having my dad gone here, I've heard all these stories my whole life about.
In full disclosure,
Yeah,
Dad and I
his-
were here
yeah.
together about the same time frame. So.
I've heard all these stories, I've met his friends and whatnot, so I tried to put that aside because, you know, I'll have my own experiences, he has his, I'll have my own. But I think it matched up. I mean, I had a great time. I have no regrets coming here, and yeah, I'm very happy overall with my experience here.
Yeah, I didn't really have any idea really. I mean, I didn't know until the summer that I was really, you know, coming here, but there was just always in my parents' friends who had gone to Westmont, they always spoke so highly of Westmont and were always, you know, proud Westmont alums. And so I feel like that really played an integral role in like being like, okay, this is a good place, and just coming to terms with what God wanted and the plan that he had. So that was really nice.
Okay, so back to DeMitz. As something about kind of a typical day, and our tax seats for the non-accountant. My closest thing to accountancy is having done Quicken on my computer to do TurboTax, and that's about it. So I have a very, very teeny tiny appreciation for what you guys do. I just hear horror stories. So A, what's a day like? And then B, our tax season's as brutal as us non-accountants hear the stories of.
Yeah.
I think our firm is really unique in that they do prioritize work-life balance, which is so amazing.
Yeah.
They do they expect you to work hard. You are working between 55 to 60 hours a week during tax season or during busy season, but for comparison, some other firms may have you do more than 60, and that's pretty much all you do all day. It's just you're at work, and then you go home, you eat dinner, and you go to bed. This way, at our firm, you have a little bit more flexibility. There are sacrifices you have to make, but for the most part, in the industry standard, they're really, really great and treating us well.
Yeah, that's great.
That's really well.
Lauren, how about what's your take on a typical day and kind of more of a typical day piece of it?
Wow. Well, every day is different, but depending on the complexity of the projects you're working on, you may be working for a project for only a couple hours, or for like 2 to 3 days. It just depends on the complexities. So usually you pick up a project, you work on it. At our level, we do a lot of the manual entry and taking the information and putting it in the system. And then once we're done, it's reviewed by someone above us, and they'll give us feedback. And then it'll go to a partner level. So it's a lot of communication and going back and forth on what we need to do differently, and maybe be like, oh, this is deductible under this law, or figuring out the best way for our clients to get their money back and whatnot.
On that, you mentioned the word complexity. Everything's different. Everything's different complexities to it. How have you found sort of your Westmont liberal arts education? The moments when you went, oh gosh, I'm good at. The agility and versatility pillars of kind of what we hope to prepare students to leave with. Have you found that has been helpful? And as you come to these complex moments, and kind of figure out, how do I think about this?
I know for me, the Westmont education in the liberal arts, just the problem-solving ability is very critical in tax. Like being able to figure out what the problem is, and then where to go to find a solution is really helpful. And looking at prior years or other clients or whatever, and just gathering all the information you need in order to solve the problem, or look at next year and what they can do to better their position or whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I felt that, especially as an intern, when we really went in knowing absolutely nothing, not really knowing how to do what we were supposed to do. And I thought that having the liberal arts education really gave us that like critical thinking, problem solving, that I did feel like it gave me a little bit of an edge compared to some other students that had a little bit of a harder time kind of just grappling with the problems that we were having or the issues that we were having. And I thought we were able to kind of muscle our way through it.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though we weren't necessarily accounting majors, we were able to hold our own because of the problem-solving abilities and stuff we learned through Westmont, which was really beneficial in the end.
Yeah.
That's great.
The knowledge will come later, but
It's,
that problem-solving skill is what's really important.
So you were just talking about internships, and both of you had an internship, at least one, when you were at Westmont. So it's kind of a two-part question. First question is, what makes for a good internship experience?
Well, actually, that's how we both got our jobs. We started as interns, and then we were fortunate enough to receive full-time offers after that. So I think plug for internships. They are great. They're a trial run, basically, for jobs that you may or may not want. And there's no harm, no foul. If you have an internship and you decide this is not what I want to do, it's great. But what makes a good internship? I think that's such a there's so many different layers to what makes a good internship. I think you can have a not great time and it still be a good internship. My marketing internship, I didn't have the greatest time because I didn't enjoy the work, but I would still say it was a great experience. It was a great internship. I think if you like the company, you like the coworkers, I think that makes a great internship. If you take something out of it, I think that makes it a great internship, even if it's bad or good.
I think a good internship would be one that you acquire tools that you can use in other places, in other jobs. So even if it's, with our tax internship, like tax accounting, we can go to many different companies and have those tools and make us more, a better, hireable, a better candidate. So I think an internship would be one where you get tools, and then also one where you can just learn without any repercussions kind of environment, because we were able through our internship to learn so much, and it was so beneficial without the fear of getting fired or something. It was kind of nice to just be able to sit and learn and decide whether or not we liked it.
Yeah, so almost like even though you didn't learn the necessary skills at Westmont, you still got a chance. You got skills that would help you learn when you got there.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the second part of the question is, what would you tell current students about having about the benefits of having an internship while they're at Westmont?
It's a lot of work, I think, on top of school, but it's really worth it. I think it'll give you an edge when you're graduating and you're applying for jobs. You already have work experience. You've gained necessary tools that can transfer over. It makes you more hireable. Also, you learn work ethic. You learn how to go to work. I mean, it's a totally different thing than just going to class. You can't just show up and sit in the back. You actually have to show up and do something. I think it's and like I said, it's a test run. If you don't necessarily know what you want to do, or even if you know what you want to do, there's no harm in trying it out or try something different. I mean, go crazy. Different.
It's interesting that the data suggests that clearly students who have one or more internships land more quickly. And even two is becoming sort of the new norm, and 3 internships. And those can be for credit or not for credit, or just even a 1 or 2 month stint. But it shows that you've been heading in that direction, figuring out what does and what doesn't work for you. And so, we're really encouraging students, have been and continue to encourage students to get an internship, at least one, before they graduate. Lauren, what's your perspective on this?
I think it also teaches work-life balance. I mean, we were both full-time students while working 3 full days a week, so we had a lot on our plates. And so it definitely helped you manage your time and, what you prioritize, kind of, especially now that we're studying for the CPA exam, we're essentially in school again. So we're really using those skills that we learned our last semester at Westmont while we were an intern and in school to you know, hopefully pass all these tests. So it's definitely beneficial in that aspect.
Okay, so time machine question. So it's May of 2017, and you're got your black gown on and your cap, and
It's
and,
raining.
It's raining. That's right. It was missing that year. That's right.
We're soaking wet.
Yeah.
And you're about to walk across the line and shake President Beebe's hand and get your diploma. If you can put yourself in that spot, in that moment, what were your hopes and fears for the road ahead, for the day after commencement?
That's a good question. I was ready, I think. I was ready for the next chapter, so I felt this excitement for, you know, being done with traditional school and moving forward and working. I've always enjoyed working, so that was really exciting to do that full time. Now I wish, now I'm like, can I go back to school?
Yeah.
Have some more time off, but I was more excited, I think, than fearful. Obviously, it's a little, doing anything new, very new, is a little scary. But we had already worked there, so it wasn't like walking into an unfamiliar office. We already knew everybody. We already worked with everybody.
Yeah.
We had the same desks.
Did you both get your offer letters prior to commencement?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we were
okay.
walking happy.
You were heavy on the hope part, not so much on the fear part.
Yeah,
okay.
we found out in, I think, mid to late April.
Yeah.
So we had a job waiting.
So it was Skippy doing somersault.
We were
like, let's go. Let's go.
I hadn't appreciated it. I just, for some reason, was thinking you were still kind of moving through. So that's great.
Yeah.
And then largely due to the internship. You have to keep perfect on internships.
Yeah.
They got a sense that they got to test drive both of you and vice versa. You got to test drive their firm as well. Well, that's funny. Okay. That's what there was.
I would have had a lot of fear if I hadn't had that, but it took a huge load off our backs.
Awesome.
There you go. So, thinking about your career path into accounting, was there a moment when a light bulb went off, or was it kind of just a combination of everything, from classes and internships and summer jobs and all those things from your Westmont days that led it? Was there a pivot point?
I kind of had both. I came into Westmont as a sociology major, and I really wanted to become a detective, and I had always thought that was what I was going to do since I was probably 12, and then Lauren actually told me, you should take this accounting class. I think you'd like it. You
didn't stray too far from what you wanted.
No. It actually is more related than you think. Detective work's like puzzles, solving problems, and accounting, there's a lot of puzzles involved with accounting. So it sounds very, very different, but I think they're somewhat interrelated.
I think there's a book title in there somewhere.
Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome.
But anyway, taking the accounting class, I realized I like this. It kind of clicks. Sounds interesting. Let's just roll with it. And I kind of was worried that I made the wrong decision up until junior year. So this was freshman year that I changed my mind. And until junior year, I was a little worried that I made the wrong decision. But it wasn't until I went abroad and had no business classes for a semester that I realized, nope, I'm in the right spot. Yeah, because I missed business classes so much.
That's great.
I was lucky enough to have someone in my life, my grandfather, who told me that accounting would be a great fit for me. So it was kind of always in the back of my mind that, this is something I should try, whatnot. And so I took an accounting class the first semester my freshman year, and then just kind of like, hey, this makes sense, this is fun. Well, sometimes.
Sure.
But I'm really good at this, so kind of just taking it from there and seeing where it would lead me. Kind of lucked out.
So you said that one of your friends recommended an accounting class. What else at the Westmont community helped you shape what you wanted to pursue?
Well, I think Kobe Harmon.
I have him right now.
Yeah,
actually.
he's amazing. Obviously, we take all of our classes, all the accounting classes with him, but he's always really encouraging, and you can ask him all these questions, and he's willing to kind of walk it through with you because he's been there, and his sons have been there too, so he knows the ins and outs, and he's really helpful too with talking to other firms as well, and he could connect you to anybody in the accounting world if you wanted to. So I owe a lot to him.
well, kind of what Shelby said when she went to Europe semester, how she realized business is what she wanted through classes she didn't necessarily like. I feel like Westmont really does a good job of like putting you in a lot of classes that you may not like, but are very helpful in determining what you do want to do. So even though there are classes that, you know, I maybe got the lower grades in, or, you know, had to work a lot harder, it helped me identify my strengths and how to utilize my strengths in those classes and apply it to my job now and what I do with the rest of my life. So it's really nice.
And how have you found the transition to a work life and balancing like your faith, your friends, and your working? How did you find the balance in that?
It's not easy. It's I don't actually live with any current students, so I live with a family, basically. So I'm not really around friends. I don't have built-in friends and roommates, so I have to work a lot harder to either see my friends or go out and do things with them. And it also makes it harder when we're really busy at work and our work hours are extended, so it takes a lot of, you have to work at it. It doesn't just kind of fall. It's a lot easier here at Westmont. Everyone's around.
Yeah.
You could just walk outside and you'll probably see someone.
Oh, yeah.
But
You
yeah,
can
you
study
have to work.
together,
Yeah, you have to work a lot harder. I think after graduation.
Yeah. I affirm that. You do have to really work at it, but you also realize who your friends are too. You know, you're kind of like, oh, I'm okay with not talking to you, maybe why that is, and kind of like, you know, that awkward post-grad shuffling that happens, but it's nice. But also, it's nice, we luckily have friends that are very gracious during tax season and are like, we know you're really busy right now, but if you have time, do you want to hang out? You know, very like respectful of, you know, our work life and understand the struggle that it can be sometimes to meet and hang out and whatnot, and sometimes it's just like, hey, can we meet for lunch, you know, and just like being able to have that flexibility.
Yeah, it's the when you come up for air in like May, we'll be happy to go. We can re-engaging it. So it's good that you've got friends that are willing to understand it.
Yeah.
And play ball with it. Okay, so back to this hopes, fears thing. There's a tangent of this. So think, you know, if you could tell your 18-year-old self when you're just starting your time in college, what would you say? Hey, worry about this. Don't worry about that. What would the thises and the that's be? Let's start with you, Lauren.
I would say maybe don't worry about the grade, worry about what you're studying more. Don't I mean, grades are great, don't get me wrong, like you need them in life, but it's kind of like focus more on what you're learning and how you can use it than like getting the grade, because I feel like that I would just, you know, study, get the good grade, whatnot, but I wasn't actually learning, I would say. Absorbing it. Yeah, I was memorizing, I was regurgitating, and so maybe telling myself, hey, you can make your life a whole lot easier in the future if you actually learn this and like soak it in and, you know, utilize it. So.
That's the what to worry about. What's the what not to worry about?
What not to worry about.
Well, actually, those were kind of two of the same, I suppose. Yeah. We'll think about that for a second. We'll come back to.
I think I'd tell my 18-year-old self to slow down. Just stop. Like, I don't know, engage in the present.
Yeah.
Don't worry too much about what's going to happen after graduation, or, you know, I'm a planner, so I like to have my whole life planned out. I would just say throw away the plan, because that's probably not going to happen that way anyway. So just engage in the present and be there in the moment, because it goes by really fast.
Yeah, it does. That's very true.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, great to have you guys here, and fun to chat. Any other just nuggets of wisdom about life and just work and faith and all that stuff? Anything else that we haven't chatted about?
Gosh. It's a great ride.
Yeah.
It's fun. It has its ups and downs, but it's good.
Awesome.
It's a good time.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both for coming
Thank
up.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Alrighty, thanks, Lauren. Thanks, Shelby.
Thank you.